What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? We are starting something new today after a fairly lengthy absence. I'll go into that in just a moment here. But before that, I want to get into what this game is. This is Alters, or The Alters, I suppose. I did not know anything about this game. Honestly, I didn't even know this game was launching. I want to say it was Thursday, Friday, something like that. Until I saw just a couple of the channels that I follow on YouTube were streaming this game. I was like, well, what is this? I Google it, and then I'm like, oh, space survival. Oh, base building mechanics. Oh, this. I'm like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then it really grabs me with its premise of the crew that you're surviving with are all clones of the main character. Like, I'm really curious. They haven't kind of gotten into the, wait a minute, am I the clone? Are you the clone? Who's the clone? You know, they haven't, as far as I've played in, but they've kind of gotten into this kind of ethical dilemma of, well, what do we do now that all these clones are born? What do we do when we get back? You know, like, they're asking interesting questions about that stuff, because the clones aren't just pure genetic clones that you're using as just a workforce. They are, their memories are altered by like this branching path quantum computer thing. It's explained in game. So essentially, as you create a new alter, it's like, well, this one have made different life choices. So this one's an expert in mining, and this one's an expert in this, and this one's an expert in this. So it's a lot of really cool concepts for this game, and I have been blown away by it. I have been just enraptured with this the last couple days. So I am very excited to sit here and play this with you guys. If you all are new to the channel, I want to say welcome. My name's AJ. I like to sit here and play video games and shit talk with you guys. If you have been kind of looking back at the uploads over the past little bit, and if you've been with the channel for a while and are going, AJ, where the fuck have you been? Answer that question. Busy between personal stuff and work, and I'm starting my last couple classes to finish up my associates. So everything is just, a little crazy. I know, when is it not? But I promise you, I'm back. I had a busy last little couple days after getting sick, and then I thought I was recovering, and then I just, like I said, I didn't expect to get as busy as I did. So it's a whole thing. So yeah, that's where I've been. If you're new to the channel, welcome. As I said, I'm AJ. I'm the smartass who will be piloting this game, and I'm sure at some point you're gonna sit there and say, this guy sucks at video games. Yeah, that's how this goes, isn't it? That's how this whole YouTube how this whole YouTube thing kind of works. If you noticed the cut before I started talking about the channel and everything, yep, that was because I went onto a whole tangent on things that didn't matter, and I decided, you know what? Let's cut that terrible intro out, and kind of restart. I'm trying to think here. Seeing that we're getting close to starting. There we go. It's like, when is the difficulty screen gonna pop up? If you can't tell, I do my commentary in post. So, I'm trying to think. This game's by 11-Bit Studio, I do believe. Like, what have they? Oh, they did Frostpunk. Oh, that's why this studio's name was on my mind. I was like, I feel like I've heard of this studio before. I just couldn't. Okay, so they did the Frostpunk games. Okay, that's why I know of them. In a weird way, if the video game that this game reminds me the most of, in a weird way, is Oxygen Not Included. Like, I think you'll see similarities to it.
My whole life, all its ups and downs led me to this place. Far from home, far from anyone I know. A journey whose route is unknown, and the destination out of sight. Was this path just a random sequence of events that I had to follow? Or was there ever another way? Now, heading for the unknown. I can't really tell. Is this the end of the road? Or is it yet another branching?
See, like I was saying, I would compare this game very heavily to Oxygen Not Included in a lot of ways. I've seen people compare this game to Subnautica as well, and I kind of get that. You know, you crash land on a planet and you're trying to survive off of the resources given to you. I can see comparisons to Subnautica. I can see comparisons to a couple different games.
Dolsky here. Do you read me? Anyone? Nothing.
So this is our protagonist, Jan Dolsky, or this is kind of hard to say this because, well, no, he's not the only character because you converse with people on Earth. So, I mean, say he's the only character, but he's your single crew member who is eventually cloned, and then there's different versions of him. And I believe all done by the same voice actor, too. And I think he does a really good job of kind of differentiating the different characters. And I think the writing's, again, also pretty good of giving the different characters their different kind of vibes and feels. Based on, so far I think from where I've played, I've unlocked the botanist, the miner, the technician, and the scientist. So yeah, I mean, I think this game asks some really interesting questions on kind of like, it's some of it's surface level. I'm not saying this is the greatest this is the greatest in-depth discussion of these topics, but I think it does delve into some really interesting concepts of, what makes us us? Is it just the events in our life, or is it something more internal than just that makes us us? There's some ethics on cloning, I think, that we'll get into later on in the game. I've been very impressed by this game. If you cannot tell by my ranting here. So this game does have elements of we're running around on the planet in this kind of like 3D, I'll say action adventure. I mean, we're not shooting at aliens or anything like that. But, you're going to go out and try and find resources. You're going to go out and set up little mining outposts and whatnot on this planet. The map is... Yeah, I'll get into it later on as we kind of look at how the maps work. The maps themselves are...
Looks like she died inside of it.
They're really interesting in my opinion. Because they're fairly small and very manageable, but at the same time they pack a lot in there. You know, they're small, but they don't feel small necessarily.
Mobile base. There it is.
I really love the design of this base. It is a really cool concept.
Polsky here. Anyone copy? If you can hear me, I've located the base. We'll try and get down there.
So if you're kind of seeing, because I think at the end of the prologue, we actually move the base.
I gotta keep moving.
If you can kind of see it, it kind of looks like a bunch of storage containers on a wheel, and that's really what it is. As you build modules on the base, you know, it's like you're going to build the dormitory for the altars, you're going to build a kitchen, you're going to build this room and that room. It's kind of like you're building these blocks on a 2D plane. So it's kind of like placing, like I said, storage containers on this big ass wheel, and when it moves like a big wheel. It's a really neat design.
The capsules.
It's simple,
Wait.
but in that simplicity, I think it.
What?
It's one of the it's.
That's impossible.
I'm trying to think how to phrase this. It's a simplicity that I think people would overlook and wouldn't put into a game, thinking, nah, that's dumb.
Why?
But it works so well for this game's concept.
Makes no sense.
So because I was talking over it, and you know, essentially he's finding out the rest of the crew, they're all dead. Everyone's dead.
Radiation wave? Now? Oh shit. It's rising fast. I gotta get to the base.
So as this game goes, you're kind of on a clock constantly. I like the prologue is very like you have X amount of days to move the base, because otherwise you're going to get hit with this massive radiation storm or something. God, I love the scale of the base as you kind of like run up to it.
Yes.
So you know that's kind of like your first goal during the prologue. But even later, as you're just exploring the world, you know, you have to get back by a certain time. You're going to start getting irradiated. You have to build radiation filters for the base so everybody doesn't continuously get irradiated. You have to you have to manage your energy, quote unquote. But it's not manage your energy as in like you have like an energy bar. It's you have to keep your by like certain times in the day you become tired, as you see in the bottom left. That's your kind of like your timer, and it is a running timer.
I hope someone else made it. I need to find the comms room and get help.
So this is how things work in the base. You essentially run around in this 2.5D kind of setting. It's really interesting. So this is how base building will work. You can actually increase the base size once, you know, we get into research and everything like that. You can add new modules with the building. Yeah, with the building feature. You know, a weird game that I'm going to say this reminds me of, Fallout Shelter. Anybody? It weirdly reminds me of that game. So you kind of move onto the elevator, you hold X, and then you go up, down. So, you know, you got your captain's quarters with our little captain's manual and database and whatnot. The machinery, which will kind of tell you what's being broken. You know, you'll see your radiation barriers. Pretty much, I just auto-load radiation filters, just so I don't have to constantly manually do it. The only problem is sometimes you have to keep building them. If you can't tell, yes, eventually you will have to build elevators and everything. It's an interesting. Again, it's interesting. That's the best way I can phrase this.
Hello? Hello? Can anyone hear me? Mayday! Mayday, anyone?
I can hear you, Captain Machine.
I'm here, but, I'm not the captain. I'm just a builder. Jan Dolsky, corporate ID 4672B. The captain, the whole crew is gone. Hello? Can you get me out of here?
Imminent danger. Short time remaining to sunrise.
What do you mean? Remaining to what? Talk to me! What's the danger?
Planet activity rising. 4 days remaining. Be lethal proximity. Instructions and logs.
Oh, no, don't you go all fuzzy on me. Lethal proximity. Oh, useless quantum nav system. Where the hell did it send us? Lethal proximity of what?
Please, Brigadier before star approaching. This battle, you must escape. Proximity, dawn, days.
You mean a star will come and burn this planet? And I just have days to escape? Is that right?
Mission sunrise.
Sunrise. Perfect. I need to find those captain's logs.
Yeah, if there's one thing that bugs me about Jan, it's the fact that he's running around in what constitutes as Crocs. In my opinion, they constitute as Crocs. I can't remember what the hell I'm doing at this point in time. Oh, okay. I looked away to check my phone for a second. I was getting a message. I was checking my phone for a minute, and then I looked up and I was like, "What? Where the fuck am I running?" So after we get through the prologue and we start, doing whatever, it will. We're no longer on that time clock of this many days until the sun hits us, or at least there might be more of those in story reasons, they keep popping up. But, as far as I have played 2, those don't just keep popping up constantly, You're pretty much at the point that I'm at. The only thing that's really kind of rushing me is just stay alive and gather resources. That's really kind of the whole thing that's going on with us. So you're seeing the kind of on our UI at the very bottom, you'll see our all the resources that we have at the base, the time and energy and everything in our mission. There's something in the bottom right that for some reason I don't remember seeing that. And I'm not 100% sure what that one does.
That shiny rock might be a source of metals.
So our energy in the left is connected to the time, next is radiation, and then our suit charge. Suit charge becomes important later on, as we get certain items to help us explore. This is a really neat effect that it's like, hey, I'm gonna work at our crafting bench, or I'm gonna mine resources or whatever. As you hold X, it goes into that like fast forward mode. It's just a neat effect, but I like it. Again, whatever that marker in the bottom right corner. Like I said, I don't remember seeing. For some reason, have I just not looked in that corner of the screen? So yeah, pop it right there I'll just pop it on the other side of the command center. And now we have the workshop. And these modules can be moved. You do not have to, once they're placed, they do not have to stay there. They can be moved about. They can be, so your base is really modular, and I really like that. Now, not every module can be moved. There are certain modules that are held in place. I haven't tested every module, but I just know from reading the tutorials that there are modules that are staying in place. I can't think what they're called. Well, I'll talk about them probably in the next video when I remember what they're called. Excuse me, sorry. I mentioned this. I was sick last week. Holy shit. Sick last week, and I still got a bit of a cough. All right, took a little break there. Hopefully my cough's still there, but I took my cough medicine and everything that should hold it back a bit. Bit my tongue. Hold it back a bit. So
I don't have a climbing hook. Not yet. I'll
okay.
have to find another way.
Okay, so you're seeing like the climbing hook is a tool. Once we unlock it, to use the climbing hook, we have to use suit energy. So that's what that little energy marker is down in the corner. But yeah, whatever I was saying. So hopefully my cough's a little better. I've got I got ready for work and everything. Got a nice shower in. So it's a little stretch there. So you're seeing all the little arrows, so that's just kind of telling you, hey, okay, you can go this way or that way, or the map is really intuitive in the way you can use it. The way that you can use the map to kind of tell where you have and haven't explored. Personally, I like it because it kind of gives you that option to that it gets rid of that fear that I have of, oh, holy shit, have I explored there? Have I not? You know, especially in a game where, you know, like, you're on the clock.
I need to collect a sample.
So if you pause, so if you paused and read the little journal entry, essentially Rapidium is this, as far as I understand it, a very volatile kind of element that they're looking for on this.
So the useless quantum nav system isn't that useless after all.
On this mission into space, the whole goal, or the whole thing that it does, it can alter DNA and accelerate DNA growth and shit like that. So it's the main thing used for the cloning. But it's
I should look for organics.
the whole point of the Rapidium is essentially to figure out the cloning and everything like that. So that is what that cool looking stuff was. Rapidium. So now we have we're using the scanner, essentially. What this is they're little pylons that you drop down, and it'll give you. It took me a second. You'll kind of see me stumbling around here trying to figure out, like, wait a minute, so what's going on exactly? So, but essentially, what this stuff is you drop the pylon. It does a kind of like a scan of the ground. And you can kind of see where it starts becoming more and more red over, yeah, kind of like where I'm running now. That is where the deposit is. So using these little scanners, and I really like how it handles it. Like with it shows you the amount of feet that you can move them before they're out of range of each other. When we're using the I'll call them power pylons, they do something very similar. I think this game is very user friendly. But I get a little faster at this process down the line. Personally, I prefer building my little sensors in triangles and kind of building that way, and kind of like smaller. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Sort of in smaller groupings, instead of trying to like make these like big squares that I'm trying to here. Because like it's a little bit of my OCD that's trying to go, oh no, I should fill out like a full shape or something like that. It's, you know, I should make perfect squares and fill out everything, no spaces. Mostly because like you can see the really red bit that I'm kind of have discovered. Like that's my biggest problem. Is just trying to get that last little bit. There it is. So yeah, you don't have to be super. What's the word I'm looking for here? You don't have to be super technical with it. You can just kind of randomly place the little sensors and you'll find it eventually. So essentially with pylons, you have to run them back to the ship so they can power the doodad, but then you can use them as fast travel points, which is pretty cool. Something else I wanted to say. Oh, you know, actually, I could have gone down on that. The climb spot, like the climb spots that are like you need a climbing hook for. You only need those to go up those. You can still go down them without a climbing hook, because you still have like a rope to kind of rappel down. What else was I about to say? So we're running the pylons back. Oh, right. You know, so they give you that first mining outpost and these pylons for free,
I still can't.
but you have to build sets of pylons, and you have to build mining.
I need to report it.
Oh my god, you have to build the mining machines and everything in your workshop. Down the line. Like, that's there we go. Words are hard. So once a certain point in the day hits up, you become tired, and the only real problem with being tired is that you begin to perform actions slower. So, you know, if you're going to mine something or craft something at the crafting bench, or the workshop as it's actually called in the game, you build them slower. And if your question is, well, can you use your altars once you unlock them to craft things or to do whatever? Yes. I mean, you're in charge of setting up the outposts, but eventually you can get them onto like a production schedule of, okay, I want you to handle this. I want you to handle this. Excuse me. I want you to handle this. You can't do it kind of like Oxygen Not Included, where I want you to do this task for this long and this task for this long.
Hello?
But you can kind of give them a general sense of what you want them to do.
I went out to find resources.
Or you can give them a specific task, and that will be what they're going to do until you tell them to do something different.
Rapidium. You hear me? I think I found Rapidium.
You sure about it?
Thank you, spooky voice.
What? I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, what else could it be?
Test it.
Test the Rapidium? How would I do that?
New blueprint provided. The womb.
A blueprint? The womb. You want me to build a womb?
Some sample of DNA.
Yeah, exactly. What part of that is confusing to you, Jan?
This is fucked up, but what the hell? At least I got your attention.
Yeah, whose attention do you have? It's just a shadowy guy on the other side of the communicator.
Rapidium speeds up organic growth.
All right, guys. That's going to about do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. As always, find me over on social media. All that stuff's linked down in the description below. Next video, we will get into the cloning shenanigans of this game and all that. So I hope you're ready. We'll play that. Actually, I think part 2 will be later today when I get home from work. And then we'll kind of get back into the schedule as the week goes on. Next week, Death Stranding 2. I'm super pumped. Hope you guys are too. I loved the first game. Didn't fully understand the first game, but I loved the first game, so I'm really excited for the sequel. We'll be doing all that next week, so drop by, all that good stuff. I'll see you all in the next one. But until then, I'm out.